Jesus, you are good. Jesus, you are good. Jesus, you are good. Jesus, you are good. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Chim, 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 chim up. Chim, chim, chim.
Yet another amazing opportunity we collide here. Yet another amazing opportunity we collide here at Sharia Podcast, your go-to legal talk show, where we get to dissect legal jargons and legal intricacies for the common Mwananchi. My name is Colines, Colin Esmiyeku, but you can always opt for CM. And today we have an amazing show lined up for you. And as usual, I'm always joined with a beautiful team of future litigants. I'm so sorry Nyiha is not around. She's not feeling well. Nyiha, quick recovery. But Jaga himself is in the room, and we have a guest tonight. She's one of the brilliant law students that we have at the School of Law. Jaga, mkoaje? Wiki imekuaje? Vitu zinakupelekaje?
This is one of those weeks, of course, for any law student approaching the end of the semester. Mambo tu inakuwa tight, and not just for law students, also every student at large. So mambo imekuwa imechemka. Things are happening at a very high rate of ways per hour.
Vitu zinanikimbiza ndugu yangu.
And to cap it all off, organizing the legal dinner.
It's so stressful.
It's quite something. But regardless, we move on.
Tunasema God mbele. Our guest today, she's one of the best mutas Daystar has. She's called Joan Cheptoo. Joan, uko aje? Vitu zinakupelekaje? Wewe law school iko aje so far?
Okay, so as he said, my name is Joan. Wiki tu imekuwa hizo way per hour vile amesema. But all in all, you are surviving because towards the end of the semester, and moot is waiting for you.
Submissions.
You have written submissions, oral submissions. You also have to do some research. A lot of things to be done. But at the end of the week, there's a dinner. So I guess that's the highlight of it. Yeah, so I can't basically complain because of the dinner.
Nenda dinner kutuliza akili at least.
Yeah, at least.
Makes sense. Okay, I think today, one of the best thing I've done, there's some few people I've talked today, na nilikuwa nauliza to what they feel about the legal space. And we'll get to hear that once we go to our short break. But generally, I think I had asked Jerry some time back why he chose to pursue law as a career and how he got himself in the legal space as he pursue his bachelor's. But Jerry, pia leo, I think for the sake of our audience, ulijipataje law school, and do you feel this is the thing that was meant for you as a person?
Surprising enough, when I was selecting my university courses, law was never one.
So ulijipataje hapa?
Of the courses that I picked.
Ulijipataje huko?
Of course, as many of my counterparts know, the golden days back at the Starre Boys Center in school, the only course which were considered worth doing was medicine and engineering.
So ulikuwa follow waves kijana?
So it's not following waves. You know, when you come from a place of the cream de la cream.
So
You have to conform. So, yes, basically, even my strongholds back at high school were maths and sciences and a bit of computer. I didn't even do history. So, that tells you a lot. I had not even planned in any. If you could have asked me this same question 3 years ago, I would have told you, I can't do law. It's too not much of a cause for me. So how I got myself into law is that from a very long time since I was a child, people were just calling me daktari because of my curious nature. Maybe some of you can attest. I used to give chicken medicine. Medicine, not actual medicine, but I cut some grass there, I give something like that. So it's reached a defining moment where I had to define myself, whether I just want to do medicine or engineering because it has been talked to me, or what will I pick for myself. And that is where I started just thinking. And then I saw most of my counterparts back at let me not mention it right now, it will become monotonous. They had chosen medicine and engineering related courses. And so I just took a challenge upon myself. What is it that will make me different from my counterparts? And that is how I found myself even picking interest in the law, especially for the background of I becoming a captain back at high school, and everything was law and order. And so I thought if I do law, it will just continue the same bubble, but there's a huge difference between enforcing the law and studying the law. Luckily, there's no course called executive. That is where I would have found myself. But yes, law for me is more of a developed interest, of which I think I'm doing pretty good as I progress.
I think that's so much insightful, considering the fact that you didn't have it at heart since day one, but it's something you've just developed, and you're just learning to be good at it as you develop to become a future litigant. And your story, it's kind of amazing. Ni kitu umejenga as you grow up. Joan, wena yako ilikuja pia ukimaliza ama for you had it since day one?
Okay, well, for me, I can say that like my experience is totally different from Jerry's. For me, I knew I wanted to do law since I was in class 3. I don't know what age is that, yeah?
Goza, before useme, class 3, you had known things to do with careers?
Yeah, pretty much. I was this kid who really knows what they want from the word go.
Damn.
Like, if you go to my archives of my old books in primary, you'll find I'll write my name and then commercial lawyer in brackets.
Oh.
Like, if I go back, I usually look and I'm like, wow, this is what I wanted to do. So pretty much like Jerry said, I also came from a cream de la cream school. On a female basis though, like as a girl.
There's only one cream de la cream.
Hata yetu ni cream de la cream.
I would sitaingilia hiyo conversation.
Yetu tutaonana kando ya tent.
Mimi sitaingilia hiyo conversation. Mimi nilisomea kwa South Mugirango. I won't mention my school, but I'm proud of it.
Okay. So in my school, yeah, everyone thought like medicine and engineering was a thing. Like medicine, engineering, law was just coming third. So, but for me, at some point, I was also swayed with this medicine thing. And I mean, for my first selection, I wrote medicine. I wrote this medicine for the first choice and the rest. Law ilikuwa uko chini. But you know what is meant for you will always find you. Personally, my parents were so against me doing law. But but they told me right at the bottom there, and at the end of the day I was still chosen for law, so I felt like this is fate, this is my life. So pretty much like I've come to grow and like every day I want to grow better and become a lot more. So I feel like law is really the right place for me to be, and I've learned a lot and interacted with a lot of people.
Okay, I think, don't you think, as for you, you actually knew law is the thing for me since day one. Class 3 ulikuwa so young. Jerry, for him, since he was a child, he knew medicine is my thing. Hata kukulisha kuku nyasi. He knew this is my thing since day one. Unaona? But don't you feel like pia ungekuwa ka Jerry ujipate in a way that you've always wanted to do law, like ujipate kwa field ingine, medicine ama unafanya HR ama unafanya something else? Could you have developed the same interest?
Well, yes, I would have developed the interest, because at some point I was having this conflict. Well, should I do nursing or law? So I feel like as much as you want something, sometimes you're open to some other path. Like you can grow interest as you go along. So it's still okay.
That's pretty much amazing. I think mine it's a bit different, because for me, I knew about careers when I was in high school. We used to have career talks, and that's when I knew about careers. But after realizing much about careers, I think I only had two things that really interested me, and that was either to pursue aviation or pursue law. So for aviation, I call it pursue aviation. Firstly, aviation in Kenya, pursuing aviation in Kenya, it's a bit expensive. Number two, I think my dad pia alikuwa one of the things zenye zilifanya can't pursue aviation. Juu alinidanganya. Aliniambia, since unavaa specs na uko short sighted, aviation is not a thing for you. So I had to, fed the interest for that. So by the time I was finishing my Form 4, I only had one option, and that was law. So it is either I'm doing law or I have nothing else. So wakati na nilipita mtihani, by the way. So wakati nili apply, you have the grade. So wakati nili apply ilikuwa too so easy juu sasa umepita mtihani and it's so easy for you. Ki apply to this uni uwezi miss, and luckily I got myself here. But the reason as to why nimeuliza all that ni juu we are in the legal space and we're growing as young lawyers, and as a society kuna kwanga na the different views on how they view those people in the legal space. Wewe Jerry, nini umepata yenye kama my friends nikiuliza what do you think about wakilis, all they know it's they're manipulative, all they know ni mtu mkora and stuff. What have you witnessed with your friends ama most of the people who interact with you and they know you are pursuing law as a career?
So perceptions may vary for different people. The person who says lawyers are manipulative is because they've met manipulative lawyers. Okay, manipulative people who happen to be lawyers or law students. So it's not like it's blanket for everyone. But what the common ground for all legal minds, be it professionals or students, is that these are people who are actually determined and hardworking to read and to expand their knowledge. And so lawyers are also one of the most fun people to be around.
Very fun.
When they are serious, they are very serious. But also when they are not serious, you will see. It's just an extremist. Yeah, you just have to be an extremist.
As a wakili.
You see, when it's time for reading, spiritual matters. It's time for unwinding, it's also time for unwinding. So I think the focus of legal minds is also high. So yes, lawyers are not manipulative people. They just deal with the cards that they are given. Yes.
I think I just wanted to hear that from you. Joan, wewe marafiki zako, those you schooled with back in high school, your family and other friends, what do they say about you being in the legal space now, or rather you being a law student? Wanakuchukulia ngaje?
Okay, so well, the first thing I feel that comes with doing law is people call you wakili even before you are a wakili.
Now,
so it comes with a certain respect, like wakili, and people will be like, hey, at least najua nikifanya crime huko mbele, I have a wakili. So I feel like it comes with a respect, but also comes with a lot of expectations.
yes.
People think, by this, most of the people think law is hard. It's not hard. It's all about reading. Yeah. Most
You're not
of
just
us
reading smartly.
Yeah, reading smartly also. Mastering it, because if you read, what's the point if you're not mastering it? So yeah, I feel like it's a pretty wide, like I feel like law changes every time there's
It's flexible.
Like law is everywhere. It's in the technology field, medical field. So I like the way law intertwines with every other profession, and everywhere you'll need lawyers. So as much as the career or the field is being populated by many people, I feel like the legal issues will never end. They always come. So yeah, it's really nice to feel like every day you have to see new things that are coming up in your field.
I think your part here, you being viewed, na ile high, you being held with high regards. I've gotten that a lot. Na pia ukianza like niko 1.1 and you know my aunt ananipigia simu and she's like wakili, you know. So tuko kanisa and she's wakili, unaona?
Yeah.
Kuna hiyo. But pia kuna the other thing yenye you now start getting issues, people thinking when you're advocate and you can handle.
Personally, people tell me a whole issue, I'm like, okay, I'm listening to you.
Sasa kwa advice so like inakufanya tu ukue in that position yenye at least you need to be knowing something about everything.
Yeah.
No. And that's
like
why
it keeps people on your toes. Like it's literally you'll find anyone approaching you and you're asking you for a legal answer.
and that's why lawyers are called learned friends, because you have to know something in everything, like at least unaona.
Yeah.
Na pia kuna kitu pia umeongelea kitu ya maana sana, and it's something I'm really trying to work on. Unaona the way people perceive lawyers kama only those people who go in court and argue cases and you know win or lose, but law is so wide. Law is not just about going to court, winning cases and you know losing, but that was just about us in an overview. As I told you, this is Sharia Hub, your go-to legal talk show, and we're live at Shine FM 99.9. You can listen to us on our website at Shine FM 99.9. Tunasema form ni Daystar. Apart from that, pia follow us on all our social media handles at Sharia Hub. Listen to our podcast wherever you get it, on YouTube at Sharia Hub. Please make sure to subscribe, comment, and if you have any legal concern, feel free to share with us. We look into it, research on it, and give you feedback. And a disclaimer, we are not legal practitioners, we are not advocates, so binding legal advice. For you to get legal binding advice, you need to look for an advocate. We only share with you what we know. We're taking a short break, but pia for those of us when you wako live on our YouTube channels, we'll be giving you a short clip, not a clip per se. And Jerry, kwanza niko na kitu nataka nikuulize. It's not leo nimekuwa nikiuliza people about you know we have different segments, na nimekuwa nikiuliza watu what they feel about kwanza but yeah, the legal bulletin. You have something amazing, and people actually refused your film. Do you know why? Anambia, I can't criticize this, juu nitajipata kwa gunia mahali. No, nitajipata kwa gunia mahali. Sijui. So inaonesha tu vile Wakenya wako na woga. So hiyo tutaangalia tukikuja next tukikuja, we're getting into the thick of it. We'll be starting with the legal bulletin, but before that we'll play you a short clip to scare what people on the ground had to say when it comes to matters law, how they feel about those in the legal space, when they hear these are wakili, huyu ni advocate, huyu ni magistrate, huyu ni judge, what comes to their mind? We're taking a short break, but stay with us.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, yourself?
Yeah, I'm also well. I have a question for you. What comes to your mind when you think of a wakili, a magistrate, a judge, those in the legal space, and laws in them?
Personally, 3 things come in mind. Number 1 is manipulation, number 2 is gaslighting, and number 3 is unfairness.
Have you had personal experience before for you to come up with that conclusion?
Yes, lawyers are generally manipulators. They manipulate.
Has one done that before?
Yes.
For real?
Yes.
You had a wakili wa kufanya hivyo?
Yes, a manipulator. They are all manipulators. Yeah.
It is your view.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing? You're well?
Yes, I am.
I have a question for you. What do you think about those in the legal space when you hear about a wakili, a judge, a magistrate, a paralegal?
What I think about them is I feel like it works more for them, the legal system, than the kienyeji Mwananchi, because they have access to the power. They can change how a certain law or constitution goes. So I think of them as they have the power to change a law that can affect the rest of us citizens, which we end up, bearing the consequences of their choices.
Which major are you pursuing currently?
Psychology.
If you're given opportunity, could you pursue law as a major?
Not as a major, maybe as a minor, if that was a thing, just for protection and just to know the law, how it works, especially when I get into the workplace and just any serious situation. I think it'd be good to know the law.
That's so much. Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. So I have a question for you. What do you think when you hear about wakili, attorney, the magistrate, and those in the legal space generally?
I think they're just people who have an understanding of the law, which I believe is necessary. I think everyone should have understanding when it comes to law to some degree, because people get taken advantage of for not knowing the law, and so I think more power to them, because it's not also an easy thing to study that degree for however many years, but yeah, I'd say that's my view.
If given an opportunity, could you study it as a major?
I would. I was going to. I just had a different priority list at that point in time, but I was going to, and so I would, yeah, for sure.
In Kenya right now, as you know, the common Mwananchi needs massive civic education.
Yeah.
And what will you say the role of those in the legal space should be?
Generally, just trying your best to educate whoever you meet. When you hear people have a discussion, you might be walking around and hear people having discussions. Just even that, being able to be present and educate the people in that moment, I think that would be a good way of doing it.
Thank you so much for your time. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Okay.
I believe you're a law student, right?
Yes.
What motivates you daily to wake up and still pursue this degree?
I think it's the thought of sitting down 10 years from now and imagining all the struggle that I've undergone through, pursuing my degree, pursuing my KSL, my master's, and maybe my PhD. And the thought of that makes me wanna clock in.
Did you have law in mind since the beginning of you thinking about the careers?
Actually, no. Weirdly, I wanted to pursue something maybe in the medical field, but with the recent stuff that has been about in our country, the Gen Z movement, I think that is what inspired me more to pursue law. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Osam. Thank you so much. Which area of law will you want to pursue, to specialize?
Probably human rights.
Thank you so much. positive when it comes to fighting.
Yes, we need to fight for our rights. People need to be educated on their rights. I feel like most people, especially people in power, try to take advantage of the common Mwananchi, since
Yes, welcome back. This is Sheria Hub, your go-to legal talk show where you get to dissect legal intricacies and legal jargons for the common Mwananchi. And my name is Colines Colines Mieku. You can always opt for CM. Now, leo, in the courtroom, as Jerry usually say, out of the bench, tuko na a case yenye it involves bond and bails. Now, this is the particulars of this case. The accused applied for a bail apparently, but he was denied. So this is the thing he had done. The case, let me give you the citation for those of us who will want to read the case. It is Muhammad Salim Muhammad Hussein versus Republic. So they were charged together with other people with trafficking in narcotic substances, which is against section 4A of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. And this happened at JKIA, and the sitting magistrate was also at JKIA. Now they applied for bail and apparently wakanyimwa. So in this case they were asking the court to review the bail terms, and one of the things they were telling the court, there are changes of circumstances. Initially tukiapply bail tulielewa we couldn't be given the bail, but now you see the other factors that the court needs to consider for it to grant us bail. And it just brought me to a whole thing, yeah, bail and bonding in Kenya when it comes to criminal matters, Jerry. So kitu nimekuwa nikiuliza leo, I think takuuliza after this, but what is your general view regarding that case and everything in it, Jerry?
So on the issue of bail, first of all, I'd like to mention, due to the special set of facts, this is happening at JKIA. I'm not sure most of you know that there are law courts at JKIA. So if you are found having committed any crime inside the airport, mnamalizana hapo hapo.
Atukupeleki milimani. Tuamalizia tu hapo.
It's a magistrate's court. It has specialized in matters narcotics. I think to some extent anti-terrorism, like the one at committee. So yes, but it can also handle other matters as they come. So for this one, let's just say I appreciate the outcome of the case where the applicant was granted bail, because I believe for bail not to be granted, there has to be some things that need to be put into consideration. Like the accused must be a flight risk, must be told to shady for them not to be granted bail.
Also, before ngalie the requirements zenye a court looks at before you could grant bail, the case, it's actually an ongoing case.
Yes, but I think it is true to say that granting of bail respects one's right to fair trial as stipulated by the Constitution, because you have a right to be innocent until declared guilty. So if you're not giving somebody bail, it's already
are you
prejudice.
It's more of you concluding they're already guilty.
Yes. To some extent, but that's not it. We understand, like if the three of us are arrested, that's just a scenario. And we are taken to court. Maybe as we are sat here, maybe Jaga won't be in a position to be granted bail as the rest of you might be in the position. Yes, the police know. These people know. The judges know what can who can be considered a bailable person or not. You give somebody bail and the next stop they are having is JKIA.
Uzuri ni JKIA. Akijasikia hapo place ingine ni JKIA. So unaweza kuwa wewe ni cleaner huko.
So being denied bail one can be denied bail, but it has to of course follow wholesome reasons as to why it was denied. I think the ruling was a good one by granting this person bail, as this upholds their rights to a fair trial.
Joan, after going through that case, your general view about the case before you even now sink into bailing and bonding in depth?
First of all, I feel like denying the bail was quite unfair, considering one of the things that you look at when granting bail and bond is the nature of the offense. This was not like a murder case or something. Sometimes you'd find they'd even grant bail to a murder suspect, but now for this one's for drugs, they have not killed anyone, and also
alikuwa tuna kiforeign
kiforeign tu pekee.
They're killing the youth.
Yeah, and I also feel like they need to, the courts need to review the terms of the bail. Like, you see, this person was granted the bail of 8 million shillings.
Imagine
8 million shillings, and after that they also needed a surety and also a touching of a fixed asset in Kenya. And also that he should show up to the investigating officer every Friday until that trial ends. So you can imagine you can imagine how that sounds hectic. So I feel like the terms of the bail need to be reviewed generally from the perspective of the case.
You know, maybe they looked at the narcotics this person
but which narcotic was that specifically?
Unajua Jerry bring up your story of narcotics. There's a case I once read. Now, case, I think that I'll look for it and I'll share with you. But you've read it, I presume. This person was caught with narcotics, and now he was brought before a court. Now he wants to be fined. So who values those narcotics? Na unajua aje na kutumia una value aje kitu illegal? Ndio tuanzie hapo.
You can know the value.
Kwani unatumianga?
You can know the value.
Unatumianga aje sajeri?
You can know the value. You know, there's a way you can. This is now where strength in mathematics comes.
But you see, most of the judgments where narcotics are involved, kwa judgment they'll include that destruction of the alleged narcotic. So I don't understand why they need to value it. They just need to have a specific.
Their metrics.
The way. So if you have like 50 kg, they'll fine you this amount. If you have 100 kgs, they'll fine you this way.
Because if you find somebody with narcotics worth 10 million,
hiyo what mlipata aje? Unajua,
if you now give them a bond of 500,000, you see you're even giving that person grounds to pay you that 500,000.
No. Maybe I've not sold it yet, Jerry.
But you've been doing it. It's just that your 40 days have come.
You're forgetting that there are people who are selling narcotics that have been apprehended, and in criminal procedure, the making of a deal with the state, it's usually called
plea bargaining.
Yes, plea bargaining. You will find that they are telling the state, that the government, this thing is sold at this much, and once you know the price of something, if I tell you the price of something in 2020, I am able to predict it for the rest of the years using all of the other economic analysis. So you saying that valuation in itself is a question, it's not a question. And the government, these people have intelligence. You might, for somebody who's trying to sell illegal things there, you can believe me that one of the people who has ever bought from you was not a genuine user.
You're just an undercover.
It's just an undercover.
Okay, unajua, okay, narcotic thing, it's a whole topic, but today I was just asking people on the streets, don't you feel, especially in times where there's massive femicide? Last week tulikuwa tunaongelea femicide na tulikuwa tunajiuliza, there's a question you asked, should femicide be a crime on its own and be given its own, sentence, or rather its punishment on its own? I was just asking people, do you think we should have those crimes or the offenses that should not be bailable at all? In Kenya, we have laws that say all crimes are bailable. The accused should not be denied bail. Hapo tutakuwa tunasema he's already guilty, and our law presumes innocent till proven guilty. Jerry, unaona, should our laws have some exceptions? Ukipatikana umeua mtu, then forget about bails. Ukipata umefanya robbery with violence, defilement, and now femicide, forget about bail and bonding.
You think that will be a very draconian law?
Mm-hmm.
The issue of bail and bond is a matter that should be decided with special regards to the merits or circumstances of the case.
Mm-hmm.
This is somebody who is accused. They are not even guilty yet. So in the event you don't give this person bail, and then you find that they were innocent, what happens from there? So the issue of granting bail and bond is a very critical one, to which judges must adhere to the special circumstances of the case. There are other cases which are pointing this person, you can't give them bail. Maybe in the past he has ever been granted bail and he got lost.
Yeah. And then you're appearing before the same judge.
Or maybe in the past you have not been honoring the summons issued by the court to you. You have resisted arrest. These people have...
I know, no way.
Not like resisting arrest, saying you can't arrest me. The people who resist arrest, they see the police and
you're not normal, bro.
They are not there. They have run away and they are hiding. Okay, let's say a criminal who has been looked for like for about 50 years.
Then he shows up with 10 million and he has the bail already.
50 years.
Ni polisi tu wako wanajua kumpata.
And this is somebody maybe even arrested by mistake. Maybe that he went and brushed his teeth outside and you saw him for the first time in 50 years.
It's okay.
So the equipment are also getting excited.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Pia mimi niko salama. So I have a question for you.
What comes to
Now,
mind?
in our laws in Kenya, as you know, if an accused person akiapia before the court or akikuwa in custody, anaweza enda akingoja kesi imuliwe, anaweza kuwa bailed ama kuwa released on bond. Now, kuna zile major crimes kama robbery with violence, murder, and now femicide. It's so much prevalence in Kenya. Don't you think such crimes they should not be bailed?
Lawyers are generally
I think you will go to jail in the long term. I find it like just go finish your term. There's no need for bailing or bonding, especially cases like your robbery with violence, murder, femicide, those kinds of things. You don't need that. I think that the government of Kenya should set aside the kind of crimes that need to have bail and bond and others not to have such.
So kuna zile unasema they should not be bailed at all.
Yes, because
What I
they'll
think
redo
about
it the
them
same.
is,
But once you go
I
to
feel
jail,
like
feel like
it
jail
works
is a
more for
correctional
them, the legal
facility. You'll
system,
go and
than the
get changed and stuff.
Mwananchi,
But just go do your time because what you
um,
did was wrong already.
they have
But don't
access
you
to the
think
power, they
that
can
will
change
be,
how a certain law or constitution
Kenya
goes.
laws says
So I think of them as they have the power to
innocent
change
till proven
a
guilty.
law that can affect the rest of
Explain
us,
that
the rest
So
of us
with
citizens,
you just
which
can't
we end up,
wezi ninyima bail
you
na
know,
sijafanya, like the
bearing
court
the
has not found me
consequences of their
guilty.
choices.
We're just assuming this person did it, but we've not proved that.
Psychology.
So I'm entitled to that, but hata nimefanya kitu mbaya, I've raped someone and
If you have
not
raped,
as a
like
major.
let me give examples, like the ones I've said, robbery with violence, murder, such kind. I don't think you need bail or bond. Just stay there.
oh, thank you so much for your views.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you doing? You well?
I'm fine.
Have you understood the question I'm asking?
You can repeat.
Now the thing is, si unaelewa our Kenyan laws, if someone is arrested for having done something, you can always be released on bail or bond as you wait for the trial. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
And what do you think about these people who are suspected to have done easy crimes kubwa kubwa kama murder, robbery with violence, he has done defilement? Do you think they should be released on bond ama bail?
No, they should stay in remand, or they don't wapelekanga remand.
So your view is kuna makosa inafaa ikuwe not bail at all?
Yeah, all makosa zote hazifai kuwa bail because you're still putting other people in danger. If somebody has committed murder, you cannot like give them bond or bail. They can commit murder again. You're just putting other people in danger. You're endangering other people's lives.
But don't you see, if someone is actually arrested, he's just suspected to have done that thing and is not proven guilty by the court?
But if you're suspected, you have to be there. You have to like, you are the only one mwenye amekuwa like the suspects wote wanafaa kuwa like in remand before the investigations zikiendelea, as in when the investigation are still continuing.
Okay, on that note, now in Kenya said there has a crisis of femicide. As a lady, do you feel so much secure ukitembea kwa hizi streets?
For real, I don't feel secure because you always even don't know who does that, like mwenye ana commit those suicides or that is the suicide, those murders, the femicide, whatever. You don't know if you are the target or you are, but because I'm a female, obviously, so you are a target, and I don't feel like I'm safe. I'm not. So on that same note, you're bailing. So mtu akishikwa sahi and is suspected to have committed femicide, afai kuwa bail at all? Yeah, hiyo ni kuweka like other people in danger. That's endangering other people's lives. Even if they are innocent or not, they're just mpaka wakwe like proven innocent. They should stay like.
Thank you so much for your views.
Thank you.
And make sure to tune in Sharia Hub. Go to YouTube, subscribe as you listen to yourself.
Okay.
Back to you. There's something I want to ask you. Now, in Kenya, as you know, we have something called bailing and bonding. When someone is arrested, as he waits for the trial, he can be released on bond or bail, regardless of the crime committed. Hata kama ni defilement, murder, robbery with violence. Don't you think as a country we should stipulate those offenses zenye zinakuwa bailed and those zenye zifai kuwa bailed?
I don't think it's necessary. Based on which point? Because we have people who have been blackmailed over something which they haven't done, and somebody, if we say that a case like robbery and murder or rather suicide also contributed to suicide, and he didn't do it or she didn't do it and ends up not being given a bail, she will end up suffering of nothing and something that she never did. Be it she has money, be it she is bankrupt. That's not the case. I think it's necessary for somebody to be given a bond or rather a bail, because it is going to help those who aren't able, no, not really able, kizungu wewe, those who have not committed a crime, those who are innocent by their own mind, not the judge saying.
So you think all the crimes zinafaa zikuwe bailed and bonded?
Yeah, I say all the crimes and cases should be bailed and bonded.
Thank you so much for your views. Yes, before we broke for a short break, we're sorry for technical issues. But remember, this is Sharia Hub at Shine FM 99.9, formerly Daystar. Now, before we broke for a short break, Jerry, ulikuwa unatuambia something to do with bails and bonds. After looking at that case that we've just seen, the person being granted bail, but after asking the court to revise the terms of the bails, ulikuwa unasema kitu before we broke for a short break.
So the machines got excited, as I said before. This is just how good of the show we have lined up for you. So what I was saying about bail and bond, it depends on the special circumstances of the case. And you cannot just say that this case, by virtue of it being murder, you're not going to grant bail or bond. There are a lot of considerations which need to be put in place. Yes, you might have stolen someone's chicken, but there are some circumstances where they will not give you bail because maybe in the past you've stolen chicken and you don't honor court summons. So it depends on the special circumstances of the case. As people may put it, it depends with the person accused.
I think one of the main reasons as to why you're likely to be given bail or be denied bail in Akwanga, are you able to appear in court during trials?
Yes.
If you can't prove that, then you remember the case of Joy Rungu?
Yeah.
He-
Rungu versus Republic.
Yes, he couldn't be given bail, and the reason was he couldn't prove a fixed abode. They were looking at his skin and wanaangalia mafamilia maju nini maju utakuwa unakaa wapi? So you must at least prove you have a fixed abode. Kesi koti kutaka inaweza kufikia and stuff. But hapo kwa kuangalia kwa I think after getting an overview of what the common Mwananchi feels about that, they don't really appreciate the fact that our law says there's that principle of innocent till proven guilty. For them, they think as long as someone amekuwa charged na murder, robbery with violence, defilement, that's it. You shouldn't ufai kuonekana. Umesikia wa kwanza alikuwa ananiambia, and kuna hata alitumia hapo, and but alikuwa so much ile yenye that person hafai kuonekana kwa community at all. He's a toxic person, hafai kuonekana kwa community. But pia tumeona watu wengi sana wakienda committee and they've not done anything and they're just innocent, Yes, sijui nini imefanyika, but sitaki kusema ni miscarriage of justice ama anything, but we've seen that. So me personally, I just feel like as long as someone can actually prove they'll appear in court, the court should also be reasonable enough to grant bail to anyone accused. Sijui John, maoni yako ni yapi hapo tukiendelea before to swing into something else?
Well, for me, I think just as a coin has two sides, like there's pros and there's cons about granting bail to everyone. And also, Article 49 of the Constitution is a fundamental freedom that everyone should enjoy. You should be granted bail, regardless of the offense. But also, the court needs to put the other considerations, for example, the safety of the evidence, whether the person is going to interfere with the investigation process, and all those, because if they do not consider those things crucially, they could make a mistake and someone could end up dead, like a witness or things like that. At the same time, not granting bail could deny some innocent people justice. Yeah, we've seen many people who end up in jail for a very long term. And in Kenya, is there what do you call this thing where someone is released because of their good conduct? Parole.
I think
so.
Na pia kuna ile presidential pardon bado. They
so,
base on that.
So someone could end up in jail and they haven't done the crime itself. But sometimes we also look at the fact that some cases would take long or a very long time before they are concluded. For example, like the first case where in the old constitution and the CPC before it was amended, they used to say that it was only allowed to grant bail and bond to the minor offenses except things like murder and treason, yes. So in the case of R versus Mugunya, that was the first criminal case. They granted, they were charged with murder, so they were allowed to be out on bail. And by the time they were being given the bail, they had like 40 witnesses in the whole case, and only 3 were remaining. So those are the other things they looked at. Yeah, 40 people were witnesses. I don't know why, but yeah, they were remaining with only 3. So sometimes it's necessary to grant bail. So you could find that maybe they've been held all that time long, and they were actually not guilty maybe.
Lakini unajua hiyo part ya ati you've been given bail, no? Yeah. Alafu the trial is taking long. Of course, we know our trials, especially high profile cases. Sasa huko tu nje alafu the court finds you guilty. Like sungekaa tu ndani anze kuzoea.
Anze kumake friends.
Ndio by the time unarudi huko unaambia sana nimerudi kukacha kazi. So umeona? Know that sasa imefikiria point yenyewe unatoka home. Sasa unaenda kurudi huko. Anyway, sijui. Je, ushaishikwa?
No.
Haraka makosa tu kadogo Jai.
No.
Unaomba kushikwa anytime soon?
I am a very disciplined citizen.
Miss Jaishiko pia mimi sijui. Anyway, nataka to switch into our next segment before we break kidogo. We'll be going to a second segment, and that is the legal bulletin. And Jaga himself yeye atakuwa anatupeleka akituongoza in the legal bulletin. I don't know what you have today, Jaga. Uko na yapi?
Today we have
before you say something, I'm so sorry for that. Nikuna kitu, I don't know whether you've seen an abstract of that act in most of our boards. An abstract of Health Act kitukayo.
Health and Safety Act.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Now on Saturday, shout out to one of our best drivers. He's called Driver Ben. He drives one of the yellow buses. Now,
Benson.
Yes. Now he also happened to come from the same place as you, North Carolina.
That's my clansman.
He's your neighbor, yeah?
Clansman.
And do you know how North Carolina people are so much fluent when it comes to Swahili?
Exactly. They never go wrong when it comes to Swahili.
Yes. Now I met him going through that act, and I was so much impressed. Nikamsalimia nikamwambia uko aje? Niko salama. Akaniambia na leo ni saa tu unafanya nini hapa? Akasema niko hapa nasoma ingawaje. Sikia? Ingawaje. And the way he refers to his riders, ingawaje nangoja wapendwa wale. Wapendwa wale. Umeona? So hiyo abstract umesema Health and
Safety Act.
Health and Safety Act. I think it's there, but people don't really understand what it is and what it entails. So maybe next week we can just have an overview of what it entails. Ndio nyinyi wapendwa.
So it's not even in this university only. The law requires that every business premise has an extract of that law on a discernible or noticeable place. So if you even go to law firms,
they're there.
Every place it is there. It's not only about Daystar University.
And I feel like watu wajui inahusu nini. So we'll just have a look at it next time tukisaidia. But shout out to Ben, one of our best drivers. Yes. Jerry, you can take over. Utuambie uko na nini?
So wapendwa, as we say in North Carolina. Today the legal bulletin has 3 segments lined up. The first one, you are going to discuss the court's suspension on privileges and immunities granted to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That is the first area we are going to dive in. The second one is Amendment of the Elections Act. And this one is a very interesting one. Both the majority and the minority leader of the House of the Senate are sponsoring this bill. So this one, we must look at it. And the last one is the calling off of the university lecturer strikes.
Where?
Comrade lazima apone. we must learn.
Kwanza hiyo part ya all this tutaangalia utaka kuanguka ndugu yangu. Utaka kuanguka ni nini mbaya? Na leo vitu ziko excited towards you. Dada. Anyway, Jerry, tukirudi after the break tutaangalia all those stuffs, kwanza hiyo ya Melinda and Bill Gates, and then pia tutaangalia the new bill yenye iko in parliament, in Senate that is. So niliend around and I was asking people regarding that bill what they feel. Tukienda break, people tutaangalia what our viewers had to say about that. Shout out to them. Then tukirudi get into the thick of that. But just remember, this is Sharia Hub, your go-to legal talk show. Make sure to interact with our social media handles on YouTube at Sharia Hub. Subscribe, view our content. Make sure to give us a comment. If you have any legal concern, feel free to email us, feel free to inbox us. We'll look into it, get back to you, but it's not a binding legal advice. This is Shine FM at 99.9. You can listen to us using our website, Shine FM 99.9. We're taking a short break, but those who are live on our social media handles, we'll play you a short clip. An audio actually. Niliambia watu wameogopa sana. Nasema, unaweza ni record alafu niseme hatutaki hiyo bill ipitishwe and then nijipate kwa gunia. So we had to respect their views. Yes. So we're taking a short break, but when we're back, we'll get into the thick of legal bulletin. Hi, how are you doing? You well?
I'm good, and
Yeah, I'm good.
So I have a question for you. Now, there's a bill in Parliament, in Senate actually, that is proposing live coverage of presidential elections should be What do you think about that?
I think that's not being patriotic, and I might call it to be Mongolodism, something which is not even making sense, because we need to know what's happening. We as Kenyans, we need to know what's happening in our part, because it's about democracy. So if I am seated home and I cannot hear what is going on, maybe in the parliament or it's going on in the ICC, KICC, then what am I doing here? And I need to be taught every moment, every 1 hour, every minute. So if I am going to wait for the president or a reporter, not really a reporter, or the returning officer to tell me tomorrow, it won't be making sense now, so that I can be able, if there is something bad that has happened, yeah, it might be to know what's happening. Me as a Kenyan, I as one of the descendants or the defendants of Mau Mau, I need to know what's going on. Yeah, it's because I voted in. It's because I voted in, and I want to be aware. Not just aware, I want to be aware, very much aware about what's going on in our country. Yeah.
That is so much okay, and I appreciate your views, and that's why we're here doing civic education. As a country, we need that. And do you think they'd had other motives while thinking of that bill?
I think there is a way of getting us from the thing. That's why you can see that the 7 period not even making sense. I think they want to Kenyans in a that they can suit their pockets, so that they can suit their brain. And I'm not going to be quiet. If it protects me to go to the streets, I will have to do it. Anyway, any path hole, even to another dimension, I'll be there. I'm so really hard because everything that I'm giving out, even if they are even from my penny, even this me, I have to dig a borehole. They have myself in Kenyan shilling.
Hi, how are you doing? You well?
yes, I'm doing good.
I have a question to you. Now, there's been Senate proposing live coverage of basic elections should be scrapped now via what about that?
I think that's right. We need to know what this is doing, because it can be then is your friend. If you guys are not knowing went on or what's what, but I think it's a good bill.
You're so against it. Thank you for your views. Hi, you well?
Good, how are you?
Well, so you had a bill that what is that?
My view is that it is wrong, is that of the Kenyan people to not being on their own country. So if you make an amendment like that, you're refusing people basic rights.
Thank you so much for your views. Make sure Sharia Hub tutakula jioni na kwa ground especially the same when Kenyans. Thank you so much.
where we'll be diving into legal intricacies and breaking it down for the common Mwananchi. Before we left for the break, we had continued to the legal bulletin, where during the break you might have heard some people are afraid to give their views on video because of
the state
controversy that the bill brings about. So in the Senate, in the House of the Senate, there is a bill called the Elections Bill. And right now, the word elections outside there, I'm sure if you go and just shout elections in the middle of the road, everybody will look at you.
And they'll want to
And
elect
they
our
want to know,
president.
what is this guy talking about elections? But yes, there's the elections bill. It brings amendment to certain electoral laws. Maybe just to break down some that's of interest to me, and my co-hosts will break down the others. So for the first one is the cancellation of the live streaming of presidential results.
They don't want Chebukati.
But yes, that's I will invite views from our viewers as we continue. But to me, it's a good thing because we don't have. You go to Citizen, CM is number 1. You go to NTV, Joan is number 1. So
inaleta controversy.
Information from one source, the IEBC, consistent. But that is besides the point. I was only stating the changes that the bill is bringing. Number 2 is that presidential award, the presidential results should be the first one to be considered and dispensed with. So before you know your MP, you know the president.
Akisa unajua ndio na like ngoja.
President, you know your president.
President tume na country mzima na MP tumepiga tu constituency. Sasa
no, you
but
must
know your
president.
But I feel like it's a speculation. If you already know your president, unajua huyu alikuwa na support.
If you are not in the president's party,
and at home polite.
But that is speculation. It's not what is doomed to happen.
I feel like hiyo part ya kwanza before you comment niseme anything. I feel like kutoa hiyo live streaming, it's not true.
It is to make information come from one source.
I see it from safety point. Hawataki IBC commissioner umie mona. Unaona vile kulikuwa
IBC commissioner does their work.
So hawataki umie. Nakumbuka wa brother the bad headed no Chebukati wakati alikuwa na sikuwa mliona akiwa Bomas and ali, you know, so I think wanaangalia hiyo, hatutaki hiyo safety yake isikuwa mrengo huu umeshinda alafu mrengo ule hautaki.
No, to streamline the sources.
Why are you supporting that thing?
But there's also an option of, you see the way KBC is the government whatever
it's not
station.
A government station.
Okay, it's government.
It's a state-owned corporation.
Yeah, it's a corporation
independent from political influence.
Isn't it owned by government?
I thought maybe channeling it to only one reliable channel would reduce the controversies that could be raised if several channels are trying to give the several
because
results.
You must ask yourself the question, why is the presidential results of interest like that? Why can't my home area MP results zake zionyeshwe live?
Tunaangalia
why only the president?
We also looking at the country, you know, the bigger picture, bro.
So that is why the idea of how knowing your president first. It goes in line with the idea of the bigger picture.
What if people, what if people start fighting over the presidential election? What if people start fighting over the presidential election? I feel like it should be the last one.
No, it should not be the last.
It starts with the basic one.
Inafika ya kwanza.
Yes.
Hey.
And then governors.
So iende ikishuka.
Senators. Ikishuka.
Ayo hapana.
But those are just ideas. The legal implication of cancellation of the live streaming requirement is the presidential results won't be tallied by different media houses. So you'll find that even them watakuwa tu wakicollect maoni instead of
apati personal information.
Yes, and then also lastly what I was to say, it is the finality of the polling station results. You find that the bill brings along with it that if there is any discrepancy or error between electronically transmitted and physically delivered results, then the polling, who is the officer at the polling station?
Kuna kuanga na
presiding officer
na mwingine
Returning officer.
Hiyo swali kuanga key kwa history bwana. Hapo kwa hiyo section ya 1 marks.
Section A.
Ilikuwa niokolea.
From the polling station, the official at the polling station, their statements as a polling station, that will be final. So I have laid out what is of interest in that bill, but I will leave maybe my colleagues to add some things that I may not have captured.
I think personally from what I researched on and also getting people's view, number one, the purpose of live streaming, yes, kuna ile part ya having different medias live streaming the results, and it might bring in some inconsistencies and contradictions, but the end goal is at least people are able to see what is going on. It is bringing in some sense of transparency and openness. People are privy to what's going on, and but also the movers of that amendments, they also have their own reasons.
You sure?
They have the interest of the nation
at heart. At heart. You also have to have reason as to why you're moving.
Yes.
You've never moved something if it's not affecting you somehow.
And might you just mention the movers of the motion? The majority
and the minority.
And the minority leader.
So ni opposition plus government. So hata anyway, hapo ni tunasema sisi ni maadui lakini for the sake of this tukuje pamoja tushughulikie huyu adui kwanza. Tukumepata jusa opposition na minority, but anyway ni sawa, it's still
and
okay.
I'm not seeing our very able aspirant commenting about this.
Who's that? Bro, say to strategize 2027. No,
and listen.
No, for now it's just strategizing 2027. Tunaangalia tu hapa na pale.
Not, I'm saying the people's president at the moment.
I know. Should I name him?
Yes.
Hey.
Ndio sitaki kutaja mtu. Mimi sitaji mtu. Ndio waseme ati ni president wa CM.
We talked about.
Yeah.
The amendment.
Mimi niko neutral.
Impartiality.
Mimi niko neutral bana.
But all in all, somebody must say it. Somebody has to be the bad guy.
And you're the bad guy. You're the bad guy.
So I was just wondering why
has
I had expected to hear from Morara Kibasi himself on his opinion on the elections bill. Maybe we can organize and bring him here.
Where's my camera? Unajua Morara mwambie the sheria hub, and we do massive civic education. Tunafunza watu sheria. So wherever you are, please, as a lawyer, kuja hapo ongea sheria. Wherever DCM amekuitisha.
Come and educate the public.
Tunakuhitaji. Kuja tuambie 2 na 3. But I feel like leo nilikuwa in a setup flani hapo na niliuliza no, I think there's someone who just brought it up, something to do with Morara. Na nilikuwa I just got it for the first time, sijaisikia. I've only heard it from my role model Miguna. I mean napenda
I know I like you be deported.
No, napenda Miguna. Napenda Miguna and I'm not lying.
I see the way you
asifiti
advance his posts.
Ni vile tu yeye ukriticize kila mtu. Hata naweza mwambia
he was born to be a critic. In every government there has to be a critic.
But yake naonga too much bro. Paka sometimes
mimi ni kujituma.
No. Anyway, ni sawa.
But aside from
sitaki tuendelee.
Yes, the elections bill. This is a step, yet another step in progress of the elections, electoral laws. Although it might be met by backlash of limiting the freedom of the media, limiting the right to access to information by the citizens, to information held by the state, amongst other rights issues. But we've not heard from our guest today, John.
Inaweza kuwa wewe ni aspirant.
The mover of the bill, you said you are from
the same place.
Hometown.
Yeah, we're from the same place, but everyone has a right.
When he was collecting public views, he consulted you. So,
vote. Sign, not voting, sign.
Tell us what you think about the elections bill.
First of all, the fact that it's being moved by the minority,
Big up to
majority leader, eyebrows, because it has never happened before, or if it has happened, then we've not known it before. So at the same time, when they're trying to maybe protect look into the guidelines of IBC about the elections and also protecting the officers or the election officers, you also have to consider the right to access information. That is literally something that everyone has a right to do. Like, everyone has a right to access information. And also, it also takes us
held
back
by the state.
Exactly.
Do you think the presidential results are held by the state or by IBC?
No. IBC
is it IBC part of state?
No, IBC is an independent body.
But okay, an independent body. All those commissions, an independent body. Like that is theoretically.
Yeah. But you do also consider when IBC are working, the presidential term of the previous president is over. So I feel like they're more independent as they're required to. And also consider that IBC as an electoral body is expected to provide for accountability to the public. So I do not understand how accountability will come in when people are being denied information. Maybe the media houses should be called and told, make sure you have the right statistics, or there are other measures that could be taken without contravening Article 34 and 35 of the Constitution. So I feel like this is such a tense matter.
Kaona sema NTV, Citizen, K24 zinaleta controversy. Ni sawa kukuwe na IBC FM na IBC TV. Iko tu easy hivyo.
But I feel like if they bring up at the IBC TV and radio, wow, people will have to interfere somehow. People will have to manufacture it.
But that needs to be fixed. I remember during elections there was a joke, like the famous Manchester United. The way that time it was not a good time for the club. So you'll hear a joke that acha niweke SuperSport 4 labda Manchester United iko mbele. So you find that different stations, you go to this station, okay, I will use the elections for last time. You go to a specific station, Raila is number 1.
You
You go to
somewhere.
another one, Ruto is number 1. So you just sit back and wonder. So this is a more of a streamlining law, but it might be seen as very strict because, as Joan has mentioned, there are better ways to do that, like calling upon the media houses to have live and updated results.
Yeah, but I also feel they vary for several reasons. Let's say your reporter arrived late, or your systems or your whatever are behind. It depends.
Or you have received a call.
Yeah.
Nisa mnaargue kama lawyer.
Here looking at the thing about speculating before elections. You remember the info track, the way they used to do their polling. So you'll find one company that does the survey, says Ruto is going to win by this percentage. You go to another one, they're showing Sijui Raila is going to win. And also you see the channels who are displaying different speculations, like you'll find NTV kwa hiyo yenye wana rely on mostly wanasema Ruto is gonna win. You go to K24, it's different.
This is because information is subjective. We might read the same thing and interpret it very differently.
But you already made up your mind before you actually did the survey or something.
Mimi simuuliza tu maswali silikuwa kweli lakini I'm not being biased, I'm just being neutral. Anyway, tukirudi tutakuwa tunaangalia something else ya Bill and Melinda. Then tutaangalia bit of legal curiosity before we wind up the show. But just to know, this is Sharia Hub, your go-to legal talk show. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sharia Hub, comment, and if you have any legal issue, narudia, uko hapo nyumbani, nashangaa mambo ya si break up.
Unajua si wote tuko na manyumba.
Na sisemi nyumba ile bedsitter.
Sema uko hapo kijana.
Hapo kijana umetulia.
Ukienda Strathmore ni suburb. University huko ni kijana.
But if you have any legal issues na unataka legal advice, we always here for you guys. Zikuje tupeni kazi tuwachambulie sheria. Usikue hapo mtu ataka ninatafuta ndoa. I don't want Jerry to mislead me.
Stay focused.
But any other legal issue, just feel free to approach us to kufanyia research hapa na pale, and if you need further legal advice, we'll connect you to one advocate unataka kusaidia. Anyway, this is Shine FM 99.9. You can listen to us anywhere. You only need to look you go to your browser and search Shine FM, ingia kwa website, listen to us wherever you get it. And this is also Sharia Hub, your go to legal talk show, your favorite podcast when it comes to matters Sharia. Tusikize hapo YouTube and comment and subscribe. We're taking a short break. Na tutakuwa tunauliza watu about our legal curiosity today. Utaisikia before we come for our next segment. See you in a bit.
Hi, how are you doing? You well?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes.
So I have a question for you. Now, there's a bill in Parliament, in Senate, it's actually Kenya, that is proposing live coverage of presidential elections should be scrapped. And stays there. What do you think about that?
Me, I think that's not be patriotic, and I might call it to be Mongolism.
You know it. So,
which is not even making sense, because we need to know what's happening. And we as Kenyans, we need to know what's happening in the democratic part, because
and
it's about democracy. So if I am seated at home and I cannot hear what is going on, maybe in parliament or is going on in the ICC, then what am I doing here?
And something of that.
And I need to be taught every hour, every minute. So if I am going to wait for resident or a reporter, not really a reporter, or the returning officer to tell me tomorrow, it won't be making sense. I want to know something that has happened. Yeah, it's my responsibility to know what's happening. Me as a Kenyan, I as a Kenyan, I as the one of the descendants or the defendants of Mau Mau, I need to know what's going on. Yeah, it's because I voted. It's because I voted. I'm not just aware. I want to be aware, very much aware about what's going on in our country.
Now, do you know that's okay, and I appreciate your views, and that's doing civic education this time I can't with that. And do you think, do you think the drafters had other motives about that while thinking of the bill?
I think the way of diverting Kenyans from the real thing, even the 19 for some 7-term president's period, which is not even making sense. There's some Kenyans in a and they can suit their brains. And actually, I'm not going to be quiet. If the streets, I will have streets anyway, any passport, any portal, even if it's going to be another day there.
And they said for 12 years.
I'm so really hard. It's so devastating. It's so because everything that I'm giving out, every penny, my penny. Even they are even reaching have to dig a box. They have to pay for my shilling.
So much. Okay. Hi, how are you doing? You well?
I'm doing good.
I have a question for you. Now, there's a bill in 10 live coverage of the election should be scrapped, and now but the two results via website. What do you think about that?
I think that's not right. We need to know what, because it's really essential if your president, she's your president. Without the nation, what went on, what's going on. But I don't think it's a good deal, honestly.
So for you, you're so much against it.
Yes, I'm against it.
How are you doing?
How are you?
So you've just had the bill that I've talked about. What are you?
It's wrong. It's up to Kenya to know what is going on in their own country. So if you make an amendment, then you're refusing your decision. So they are
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you, thank you so much for your views. Make sure to tune in. Mwangalie YouTube. Tutafa live leo jioni. At least the claim when Kenyan is eviction. Thank you so much.
Have you heard of that law?
I've heard of it.
And what do you think about that?
It's kind of, I think there are two sides to be good or bad, because you've been a whole ease, but then again something could have happened to you. Maybe you are abroad and you had to wait for, I don't know, something could have just been. There are some circumstances. Also, there are a lot of land issues, land displacement. People been displaced. There are a lot of people without homes, places to be. So I feel like, yeah, I agree. I do agree. It should be that way.
you so much for keeping it Sheria Hub. You go to Legal Talk Show. Jerry, mic yako kuna shida gani ama ni yangu? Kwa sawa. Jerry, mbona mic yako inapiga kelele?
Kusha ni Jerry ama ni
We're so much sorry guys for that technical issue hapa na pale. We've worked on that. Hey Jerry. Si yako. Sasa nizime yangu. The Bill and Melinda Foundation. Koti imesema amwezi kuja tu Kenya alafu tuseme tunawapea some privileges zenye other organizations haziwapei.
The court did not say that. The court did not say that.
Are you trying to say I'm spreading rumors?
Hot air.
Koti ilisema aje?
Okay, this is what happened, and if you even look at my posts in Twitter or LinkedIn, I am usually very keen when the High Court suspends something. They didn't suspend it because of substantive reasons. You'll find that LSK went to court to challenge the immunities, the privileges and immunities.
Kwani mimi nilikuwa nasema nini?
Listen.
He guided.
So what happens is when the court is hearing that matter, the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation cannot continue having privileges if they are being challenged in court. So the court temporarily suspended them pending hearing and determination of the suit. So the court hasn't said if it's a bad thing or a good thing yet. They've just suspended so that they can listen to the case. So it usually bugs me when somebody says, the High Court, you know what, has suspended these rights and are not supposed to be there. It's more of a technical, a procedural order than actually a substantial one. So that's where the difference comes in. The court has not determined whether
they're bad or not.
Is it more of an injunctive?
Yes.
Injunctive relief. Right?
Sasa mngeniambia tu nini? Sasa mbona mnanitoanisha? Mbona mnanitoanisha?
Something that maybe if they continue operating in may lead to irreparable harm or something.
Yes.
Okay. Mimi swali yangu ni what are these privileges that this foundation is enjoying? But pia I had researched on unajua mtu anaweza kuwa anashangana anajiuliza what is the organization doing in Kenya, what it does. Jerry, uko na background info about the
I have information about what the foundation does.
Yes,
It is an international organization which amongst its mission is reducing poverty, hunger, and promoting education towards all people regardless of their race or origin. So it's more of a humanitarian group.
More of like an NGO or something.
Yes, now like an international NGO.
And ilikuja, I think imekaka Kenya, nimeona kuja kitambo nimekaka, lakini mbona juzi tu kukakuwa na hizo.
Okay, the thing about privileges and immunity, inakwanga a privilege that happens for certain reasons. For example, maybe creating good relations with other states, or allowing humanitarian assistance to help across the world and things like that. So considering that Bill Gates and Melinda have been operational, Kenya included as one of the countries they operate in, I feel like the immunities inakwanga as a way of reciprocating or allowing them to have an easy time operating in Kenya. For example, a person working for Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation cannot be arrested, right?
Tunatuma wapi CV?
Like they have immunity from the legal system in Kenya. It's the similar immunity that is given to foreign departments. Let's say the US Embassy, diplomats, So it's more the same thing.
So
but it happens also for a good reason behind it.
Privileges and immunities. If Joan knows the subjects of international law.
Yeah.
So you find that, let's take a good example. Joan had mentioned it, an embassy. Do you know that a Kenyan police cannot step into the United States embassy because the government has recognized this embassy as foreign land? This land belongs to the United States. So in international law, there is something on recognition. Once you recognize, like for example Kenya, we can as well as say from today, the laws and lawyers, you are Western Kenyan, and the government recognizes that. And then now that will be a state because you are now receiving recognition from other governments. So the subjects, amongst the subjects of international law, are international organizations. Red Cross. Red Cross Kenya
Red
also.
Cross is international.
Yes, Red Cross is an international.
Ulifikiria ni ya Kenya tu? Hiyo inafanya mambo international.
So Red Cross also has some privileges and immunities. So it is more of the country just granting you so that you might have ease of
manipulating your things,
doing your work. If you say manipulating, that's
navigating. A better term to use, navigating.
So yes, so through it's called the Privileges and Immunities
Act.
Order.
Not act. It's not an act, it's an order.
It's an act. There's an act.
Act.
The act is called Privileges and Immunities Act.
Yes.
Section. Is this section 14 or 11?
The one that was stipulated for this specifically.
Yes.
There's a case law I'm trying to remember. It's not coming. Okay, I don't know if Jerry can fill in what I'm saying. That case. So this person committed a crime in their country, but it was not like something like murder. I don't remember the exact crime. And then he went to the embassy belonging to another country. Is it Colombia? I think I'm going to bring it back here. So he went to that embassy, and the person in charge, what do you call their name? The diplomat who was running the office, granted him immunity, and also he was to go to that country, but it was the dueling. Do you remember that case?
I don't.
Let me look it up.
But I remember the facts, but the name of the case.
Oh,
but something versus Colombia.
Hapo tuko cases international. There's a case I've been reading this week. Pia nitawapea citation. I think a British soldier alipata ajali with a Kenyan, and it was taken to a court. Ile yenye you cannot judge a foreign person in Kenya, and for this he was, he's not a Kenyan, so unapiaje before court. So for international laws pia mi uliza kitu moja. So the way someone can do something and he can be extra dating among but if their laws does not recognize that crime, ni hivyo tu. Mtu anaweza kuwa amefanya makosa Kenya, si ndio? And our penal code dictates this is a crime and it dictates a sentence for it, but he cannot be brought before court in Kenya since he's not, a Kenyan, si ndio? Am I right? Afai kukua pelekwa the other country.
It depends whether you have immunity or not. If maybe to simplify it for the audience, if Mudavadi writes an email to the United States saying tuachie huyu mtu and they agree, you can be
utaingia kamiti lakini mimi tuje la majua.
So like the Mohammed Dida case, he was arrested in, is it US?
You see, he was arrested there
and he was tried there.
He didn't have dual citizenship? Wasn't he recognized as a citizen in US somewhere? Something? I'm not sure.
I'm also not sure.
But through the... Now you interrupted when I was speaking. through the Melinda and Bill Gates order of 2024. You are wondering, hawa ni kina nani hadi
ndio nimesema
a whole gazette notice is written just for them. That one page, it's even in the Kenya government printer. It's legal notice 157 of 2024. So they were granted immunities under the act. Such immunities, privileges and immunities included. Now for the foundation is they were exempted from certain tax and rates, meaning if they do some like purchase of goods, they won't be subjected to tax as citizens. Things like VAT, hizo nini yao, it's not applying to them. So they're also exempted from tax on importation, exportation, and local purchase of goods which are in line with their functions. So if they want to buy an office car, it will not be subjected to tax. It doesn't mean that if I go and buy something, there's something that was coming up.
Was it offensive? Was it something offensive? You had to hold it back.
If they want to go and buy, let's say they want to buy a studio and it's not for work purposes. So yes, that's the privileges and immunities only apply in as far as their function is concerned.
Scope of work.
But another immunity that is good, they were granted immunity on the importation of furniture, personal items,
unasema after nimebuy nyumba
and household goods.
After nimebuy nyumba I just have to go.
So now that is where a lot of things comes. If you are granted exemption on personal goods, see, when I go and buy a iPhone, say this is a personal. So it's as if
kulikuwa na controversy hapo. Kwanza hapo kwa furniture juu sasa. So nikijenga nyumba ni sawa.
And then the employees, as Joan mentioned, they were granted immunity from arrest,
legal actions.
Legal actions, and certain they can't pay tax as a normal employee of Kenya.
So housing levy. Hakuna housing levy.
Hakuna taifa care.
Hapo kitu nyuma ni eti hakuna housing levy na naweza nunua cheap house.
So those were some of the immunities that were granted. Of course the LSK always keen to defend Kenyans.
Yes.
Wakasema
naona unaweza nunua nyumba. Kwanza first lots ya nyumba ziko available in December. Tulipromise juzi tukiwa Embu.
Imagine having an whole legal notice just because of
an NGO.
But it also means that before the court gives such orders, then LSK and the people behind the suit must have made an application
certificate of urgency.
Yeah, certificate of urgency. To criticize that it is urgent.
This must be. But yes, our very own cabinet secretary of external foreign affairs and diaspora.
Who's that?
Musalia Mudavadi. He's the one who granted.
She Prime CS.
He's also the prime cabinet secretary.
Wow. So hapo analiponga mshahara mara mbili.
That is a story for another day. So in short, the court has suspended the immunities and privileges granted by the cabinet secretary in charge of foreign affairs and diaspora, pending. Now they are suspended while they are listening to their case. The outcome is still not there, so we don't know whether these rights are lawful or unlawful. But we will be here on yet another day with hot off the bench segments to address that.
I also found the case for anyone who wants to go and understand how asylum can be granted to you by another country to flee from the current country. So it's called the asylum case. It's Colombia versus Peru in 1950. Yeah.
1950.
Yeah. It's an interesting case. International law cases are very interesting. So this person Ali commit basically a crime in his country and he was trying to run away, so he went to the Colombian embassy and Colombia wanted to protect him and grant him asylum, but now their country was contesting, saying, you know, initially the way international relations work, when a criminal runs to your embassy, you're supposed to hand them over to the state he belongs to by request. So if you read that case, you'll understand how international customs work, and it's an interesting case. I can't state all the facts, but you should go read it. Yeah, it's interesting. If you want a summary, you come to me.
Anyway, tukirudi tutakuwa tunaangalia something interesting in our last segment, and that is legal curiosities. We went around as usual and I was asking people what they know about adverse possession. It's a doctrine in Kenya. Tutakuwa tuna dive into that in a few as we take a break. You've heard from our previous clip, but tutaplay to mara mwisho as we go for a short break. This is Shine FM 99.9. You can listen to us wherever you get our radio station on our website at Shine FM, www.shinefm. But also you can interact with us on our social media handles. Na pia you can listen to our podcast on YouTube at Sheria Hub. Subscribe, give us a comment. Na pia kama kuna any legal issue, feel free to share with us. My name is Colines Collines Muyeku. See you in a bit.
And should be scrapped. Think about that. Stays there for 12
Me, I think that's not to be patriotic. I might call it to be Mongoloidism, something which is not even making sense, because we need to know what's happening. We as Kenyans, we need to know what's happening in the democratic part, because it's about democracy. And so if I am seated home and I cannot hear what is going on, maybe in the parliament or is going on in the ICC, KICC, then what am I doing here? And I need to be taught every moment, every 1 hour, every minute. So if I am going to wait for the president or a reporter, not really a reporter on the to tell me tomorrow, it won't be making sense. I want it now so that I can be able to if something that's happened. It's my responsibility to know what's happening. Me as a Kenyan, I as a descendants of the different mambo, I need to go on. Yeah, because I voted. I'm not aware. I want to be aware, very much aware going on in our country. Yeah.
That is so much okay, and I appreciate your views. And do you know, and that's why we're here doing civic education, especially this time when as a country we need that. And do you think the matters had other motives while thinking of that bill?
And what do you
I
think
think
about that
there is a
doctrine?
way of diverting Kenyans from the real thing. That's why
I
you are
think
even
it
seeing that
might
they are
be
demanding for
unfair to the
seven
person,
term
but
president
a
period,
form of
which not even
saving
there is
appreciates,
somewhere they are.
and they wanted to probably sell it after years. But it's also bad that that is land not being pushed to use. Could have probably provided maybe food, like a farm, and fed the people around here.
But the thing is, the trespassing didn't raise any objection.
Okay, yes. And say for 12 years, one could argue maybe you don't stay there, maybe you moved. Can it be arguable? Like, you don't live there, so you had no idea that they were living in your land. But if you saw them and you didn't do anything, then you're on the wrong.
You doing?
I'm doing great.
Salama?
Yes, Sana.
I have a question for you. Do you know in Kenya there's a doctrine that says if a trespasser comes to your land and stays there for 12 years and you've not done that, I think that will dictate.
No, I think it was just made by maybe land grabbers and some of the stuff. It doesn't even make sense. Why should my land be taken away just because someone has it there? They didn't even till it. They didn't add the expenses, the tax, the property. Okay. It depends on physical level of the land, but altogether that should be moved.
So you think it will work?
Yeah, definitely.
That's okay. Easy events that. Thank you so much for. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Now, I have a question for you. Now, do you know in Kenya there's a law that says if a trespasser comes to your land and stays there for a period of 12 years and you've not raised any objections, the land automatically becomes theirs?
Yes, I have heard it before.
And what do you think about that doctrine?
I think it might be unfair to the person. Maybe they were using the land as a form of money saving, because like land appreciates and they wanted to probably sell it after years. But it's also bad that that is land not being pushed to use. Could have probably provided maybe food, like a farm, and fed the people around that area. So it can go both ways.
But the thing is, the trespasser came in and you didn't raise any objection.
Okay, yes. And they said for 12 years. One could argue maybe you don't stay there, maybe you moved abroad. Then in that case, can it be arguable? Like, you don't live there, so you had no idea that they were living in your land. Who's in the wrong? But if you saw them and you didn't do anything, then you're on the wrong. But if you didn't see.
So for you suggest at least there should be some sort of objection. But still, the Article 40 of our Constitution, someone's property should be respected. So
where is the article? Where is the law contradicting itself? Yeah.
But the law is saying, basically, at least come in and say, this is my property, and you should not be there.
Yeah. Wait, what is the saying that if you don't know, you can't go to court and argue that because I don't know a law, I should be pardoned? What is?
So the thing is, I've trespassed into your land.
Yeah.
And I've been there for 12 years.
And I didn't do anything. And the law states that it should be yours.
Now I can actually say each champion is acquired.
It's okay. Then the law is on your side, so you win.
And if it's against me, the losing party.
Oh, and it was your land. That's your fault. You didn't do anything. That would be. I'll feel bad, but it was my fault. It was my wrongdoing.
Oh. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing? You well?
I'm well.
So I have a question for you, and maybe you've heard it. So there's something called doctrine of adverse possession, where if someone trespasses to your land and they stay for the 12 years and you've not done anything, they can actually claim the ownership of that land. Have you heard of that law?
Yes, I've heard of it.
And what do you think about that?
I think it's kind of. I think there are two sides to it. It can be good or bad because you've been given 12 whole years, but then again something could have happened to you. Maybe you are abroad and you had to wait for, I don't know, something could have just happened. There are so many circumstances, but also there are a lot of land issues, land displacement. People have been displaced. There are a lot of people without homes, places to be. So I feel like, yeah, I agree. I do agree. It should be that way.
Thank you so much for your views. Thank you so much. Welcome back for our last segment. This is Legal Curiosities. Pelekanga na part, but she's not feeling well. Quick recovery to her. So I'll take you through it today. Now, during our short break, you've heard we engaged with our audience and we were asking them, are you aware of this doctrine that is called adverse possession that dictates if someone trespasses in your land and they stay there for a period of 12 months and you've not objected or rather raised any issue regarding them trespassing to your land, they can actually claim ownership of that land. Now, the doctrine imepata since its establishment, we've had criticism and those who are in for it, but Leo will just have an overview of what it says and some of the good side of it and the bad side of it. Nitaanza tu kusikia from Joan. What do you think of the whole doctrine? Is it something that you as a person appreciate? Mimi nikikuja tu kwako na uko majuu na niamue I've been there and it's 12 years and when you come back I'm claiming ownership of that land. Is that something fair to be done?
Okay, according to me, I think it is very fair. Because actually from my research I saw that at times they call it squatters' rights. Land is a very commodity that is very scarce, and sometimes people just have it in extra. And it's 12 years. Like, where are you for the 12 years? And there's someone who has no land, and if there's no activity there and someone just settles there, I feel like it's their right to win, right? As in, I personally feel it's fair, because if it was, let's say, a shorter period of time, like 35 years, that would not make sense. But the whole 12 years is just a whole enough time for you to realize someone has already overstepped in my land. Because if, let's say, in the stay of, let's say, the 12 years, and within the 6th year you realize, oh, there's someone in my land, and you interrupt, then they are not going to manage to secure the land. So I feel it's fair.
Let me object you. Do you know how lawyers define property? Using the bundle of sticks. One of the rights that is supposed to be enjoyed by a property owner, right to enjoy. Now, if I actually want to enjoy this piece of land in 20 years to come, na iko hapo, si ni mali yangu, it's me who told to have it.
But also, have you seen this land where they put a banner? This is private land. Like, such a banner would actually prevent someone from adversely getting your land.
You can also do it hostly.
You can even fence your farm. You just fence it and go abroad. No one will take it.
No, kuna watu utakuja ndani.
No, fencing would actually mean it's personal property.
Jerry, sinaweza ingia ndani by force na bado nitasema ni yangu. Kuna hostile taking.
But the way you're putting adverse possession is as if it's something unlawful.
It's lawful, actually.
Adverse possession is an exception to the rule rather than the rule. You have land, as Joanna said, it's a scarce commodity. What is it that you are doing? You're not using it for 12 years, more than 12 years. That just shows doctrinally that you don't need it.
The fact that it is mine should be respected.
How can you not? You are not even inspecting the land for 12 years.
I'm one of the people I just don't conform to that doctrine.
It's giving things like land grabbing. You have a lot of acres.
I feel like it is my property. Just don't.
Yes, it is. But why are you neglecting it?
Yeah? We were asked about how we would love to acquire land.
Actually, it's recognized by the law under the Land Act as one of the ways to acquire
but
land.
You don't adverse possession as a doctrine. It's something that has been developed because you know where it comes from. Cases of land, after the lapse of 12 years, you can't take it anywhere in court and it will be admissible. Even if the land is yours, the court won't handle that matter. It won't. It is time.
Actually, Section 17 of the Limitation of Actions Act states that if you try to bring legal action to claim land that has already been owned adversely, then your title is extinguished. Like, you totally lose your ownership to the person who acquired it adversely, considering they followed the right, they met the elements, the 5 elements.
So you all agree with that doctrine?
Honestly,
it's the same. The court is...
Jerry, you agree with that doctrine?
There is... The floodgates issue. The courts are already flooded with cases. You want to stay silent for 12 years, then you bring a case. It's the same thing for torts. I believe the time limit is 6 years.
Yeah, the purpose of the limitation of actions actually is to prevent people from bringing up frivolous cases. Like, you can't just... let's say for a contract, you can't stay for 20 years and then you bring up a contract issue. It doesn't make sense.
What were you doing?
Exactly.
Lakini, me still, I just...
What is your opinion on that? Because we just had your reactions to ours.
Yes, me reaction yangu imekuwa I don't agree with that
Why?
doctrine, and this is my reason. Number one, I've said everyone has a right to enjoy their properties. Like what comes from their property, and I'll choose how to enjoy that. So it's the same way. If nikiacha hapo, I want to enjoy it later. Don't come in and trespass. Okay. And then you want me to bring up hiyo ni uchokozi. Like, I shouldn't provoke you ndo nikupeleke kotini.
Okay.
You just don't just let the court just find you guilty na urudishie shamba.
After 12 years.
But only that's not even the only forceful way to acquire land. Like eminent domain, for example, you'd feel that the government is forcefully taking private land sometimes.
Yes.
See, I feel like
compulsory
Yeah, compulsory. Someone comes to your land today and tells you, we need your land for
government can
SGR.
come and say, "We
For
want to
example,
build
the
SGR
Patrick
here."
Musimba case, they needed his land for SGR construction. So,
But they will compensate you.
yeah, they will compensate you. But it's compulsory. You have no choice to say no at all.
But mimi still banani property yangu.
Yes, it's your property, but also understand.
Uskuje.
If you are a property owner, it is also assumed that you are going to be diligent with your property. You're going to know what is up with your property. You can't, in land ownership and possession, they can be, okay, you can own the land, but I'm the one who's living there, I'm possessing it. So in short, what the doctrine is saying, you as the owner of the land, I have possessed your land for 12 years. It's as if I'm creating a norm that the land is mine. You've not said anything, you don't know about it, but you notice that adverse possession stops counting the moment you acknowledge that this person is in my land. It will stop. So where are you for 12 years such that you don't know anything is happening
Just
in your land?
respect.
You see the way they
Hata
say-
nikikaa 20 years, still respect. This land is not yours.
See, the
Ulikuwa pitu
constitution
kigrab.
It must be mine.
supports
Na mimi
sustainable
nimengojea
use of
ununue
resources.
shamba.
Yeah?
Ulikuwa pitu kigrab. Ulikuwa pi.
Itangojea ununue shamba.
Alafu ukuje ukae hapo.
Miaka 12.
Ngoja, there's a case I was reading.
Yeah.
Nimulisoma kwa SFL, the one that I think they were invited, the sister invited the sisters and the brothers, and then they came and stayed there for 12 years and above. Alafu mtaka kusema shambani yako.
No, but they didn't win the case. Is it the one that went abroad and then the siblings died and then the children inherited? Is it that one?
No, now they were invited. They were invited.
After a divorce.
Hata si after mkuje tu mkae Kongo alafu mnasema ati.
But no, that one the author gave permission, so it doesn't amount to
It's
adverse
the same
possession.
like there was a son who was living in his parents' land. Then after 12 years akakuja akasema, by the way, I've been here for 12 years uninterrupted, using the land to my exclusive use. So what happened is the courts, you know, there are elements of adverse possession. It was hostile entry,
Actual, continuous,
and continuous,
exclusive also. If you want to get the elements, you just look for the case of Virginia Wanjiku Mwangi versus David. That was in, is it 2013? I'm not sure of the year, but it gives all the elements.
So the entry must be hostile.
Yeah. And also the permission shouldn't be there. If permission was there, it's already negating it.
If I know you are there, and I come and I can prove that you know that I know that you are there.
Unajua.
Yes. It stops counting the time.
Mimi nitakuwa forever against that thing.
Tembea kwa shamba zako bana.
Wewe heshimu tu shamba yangu.
Sikia ground.
Na kama niko na shamba
kubwa.
Yeah, Ama will just give someone to use it. Okay. But there's also, unajua, land is actually, disputes the land ukuwa funny sometimes. You'd find siblings being rivals because of a land issue. Actually, for the one you mentioned, there's also one, let's say you are my sibling and I leave you to stay in my land and I go abroad. So you stay there for 12 years. Okay, around 20, I think it was more than 20 years or something. And then actually until that, let's say that person died and then the children inherited it or stayed in the land. Then these children, the nephews and the nieces now went to court saying, this is our land, it doesn't belong to our uncle. But initially, the uncle who was abroad had given permission to the parents. So sometimes disputes the land kwa
na vitu tu mingi.
Exactly.
But anyway, at least I can just hear from our audience when wametusikiza leo what you think about adverse possession in Kenya, and do you support it? Wewe unaona tunakuja kwa shamba yako alafu after those 12 years I claim the ownership. Anyway, I think we are coming to an end of our today's show.
Before we come to an end, I support adverse possession, and also I believe there should be laws in place that you can't hold past a certain limit of land.
Mtaka kunyanyasa matajiri ka sisi.
Okay, for me, before we conclude the show, I'd like to make a shout out to the JK family. They're watching, they're listening, and very supportive. Yeah.
Oh,
So they're
JK.
watching and they're very supportive. And also, I'd like to make a shout out to my mentor, Miss Chelangat Koskei. She's the CEO of Chelangat Koskei Company Advocates. Yes, I know she's also listening.
That's so
She's
much.
an advocate.
Anaunda CV hapo, anaunda profile.
She's my cousin.
Nikimaliza law school, mseme siku apiga shout out.
His Excellency.
His Excellency.
Uncle yako.
Mama ya uncle yangu, tutaongea kando.
Hata mimi nitapiga shout out to our excellency. But sasa sitaki choose pande. I'm so much neutral. Sitachagua pande. Anyway, Jerry, uko na mtu na shout out?
I love to shout out whoever is watching and supporting me.
General.
My parents, of course, today is my mother's birthday.
Oh. Hebu tumwimbie nito aje. Hebu tumwimbie, acha tumwimbie. As Sheria family.
Let us sing the vocals.
Tumwimbie.
Anito aje?
Lilian Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Let's use Kamala.
Kumbe ni ukweli you're from North Carolina.
I thought you were joking.
So Kamala, we?
Lilian Kamala.
Acha tumetuka alama.
Kamala.
Happy birthday.
Ngoja.
Let's start.
Anataka ngapi ama hiyo ni siri?
Cheki, acha kuniandika.
Let us do the happy birthday. Yeah?
Okay, sawa. 1 2 3 go. Ngoja, wewe ni sauti gani?
Stop too.
I think mi yangu ni bass.
Yako Jerry ni gani?
Alto.
Alto.
Anyway, Kamala, tutumia Kamala sindo?
Yeah.
1 2 3 go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kamala. Happy birthday to you. That's so awesome. Hata mimi siku my dad atatan. Sijui miaka yake. Make sure mmemwimbia. Anyway, happy belated birthday to Miss Kamala. Thank you so much for bringing Jerry kwa hii dunia. One of the brilliant minds when you change the legal space. Happy birthday. May this new year equate so much fruitful to you. Jerry, maybe any message to your mom as she turns a year older?
All I can say is thank you, Mom.
Uni mama's boy.
For always being there through the trials and tribulations.
You are just someone mahali I can,
Yes, of course my mother is one of the most supportive people in my life. And yes, I would love a photocopy of her in a woman.
Also, before we finish, I'd like to read one of the messages that is so supportive that I got to continue the show from my very supportive dad. So he says, so my other name is Cheptoo, you all know, right?
Yep.
So he says, congratulations, Cheptoo, you are able to emulate elite advocates like Nelson Harvey, Paul Mite. Keep the fire burning. So this does not apply to me alone. Let us just keep the whole thing burning.
That's so much amazing. Wanamniambi vizuri. Mimi ni Ongoya. Nimesema Ongoya.
We can call it a show.
Yes.
There.
It's been amazing. But please make sure to interact with our social media handles at Sheria Hub on our YouTube. Please